We have a brand new creative team and a brand new jumping on point with Green Lantern 21.
Kurt Busiek welcomes us back to Astro City and the new #1 from Vertigo.
And we have a brand new Daredevil title with Dark Knight's #1.
Okay, so have we ever talked about Jeff Johns'? We talked about a lot of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run pre-New 52.
Yep,
we
did
definitely read the first couple of issues of Green Lantern, but I think that was pre this show.
Yes.
We didn't love it. We dropped it, in fact.
We did, yep.
But we have liked a lot of his older stuff. But now, anyway, if you're like us, I certainly felt like his run, Blackest Night onwards, just dipped, and I wasn't interested in it anymore. And if you feel that way, we now have a new creative team.
We do indeed. We've got Robert Venditti, who is famous for writing The Surrogates, which got turned into a film with Bruce Willis, and Exo Man of War. And Billy Tan drawing the book, who he's done a few things for Marvel, few things for Image, but you know, this is probably the most high-profile thing he's done to date. Same with Robert Venditti. And this is a new jumping on point, brand new creative team for the first time in a decade.
Yeah.
What did you think of Green Lantern #21?
Okay, so first off, positives first. Really, really, really enjoyed Tan's artwork. Really enjoyed it. Reminded me a lot of Frank Quietly. Very detailed. Like his line work was similar to me, and it was just a book that I really enjoyed looking at. And so that was the first tick. That's something that like I thought, yeah, with this artwork, this is a book I could see myself reading. And I will also say that I didn't think this writing was bad in any way. It was good. It was comprehensible. I got it. I felt like I was listening to Hal Jordan and, you know, all of that. I think they've made a major, major misstep because this book just starts off, again, massive space opera. And I'm just like, I've had enough of that. I've had that for 10 fucking years. I don't need any more of that. There's massive battle on our, the battery is gone and here's Loffley's coming, oh my God. Crazy. No, that's tiring. Like, I've had enough of that. I don't want. That's probably the reason. Like, Blackest Night just is so big, and like that's great. That's great. That I get that this is your big sci-fi book, and I get that you want this, but bring it back down. Like, just chill out. I don't know what I want from Green Lantern. I do know that it isn't this.
I like it. I know this is wrong. I don't know how to do it right, but I know what you're doing is wrong.
And I felt the same way when I was, with Blackest Night and some of the latest Jeff Johns stuff. It's just like, it just gets so big and so crazy. I guess what I want is just a more personal Green Lantern story, just something different that I haven't seen before. I think Jeff Johns is sort of... I mean, I read online that someone says, Jeff Johns kind of sold this used car with a boot print on it, or, you know, as a kind of metaphor for like, great, he's done such a good job, it's been so epic that he's handed off the job to the next person and they're in a bit of a bad situation. But I think the way to rectify that situation isn't to try and match Jeff Johns for scale, because he had 10 years to build that up. It's to do something completely different, and ultimately I didn't feel like this was different, and it didn't encapsulate me as a guy who really wants to be into Green Lantern but has never had a cause or reason to.
Those are fair criticisms. I on the other hand, that's kind of what I go to Green Lantern for. I go for the big space opera, the big battles, the excitement. Maybe they started off on a bit too big a scale. I like that we get some of the groundwork put into place, you know, Hal Jordan being named leader of the Green Lanterns. I like that. I like the re-establishment of the Green Lanterns, and, you know, we're going to start bringing in new guys and things like that. So maybe they should have focused more on that. and the story should focus more on the new recruits and how everyone's fitting into their positions.
Yeah, if it was just politics based, I'd have been up for that.
Yeah.
I'd have been up for these politics and him making some decisions and it not coming off quite well and people being unsure as if he's the right person for the leader. But we got very little of that compared to, everything's happening really crazy, so you don't have time to make decisions.
And I'm not a huge fan of the happening soon and then now. Like, don't start off with what's coming. Start off with what's happening. For me, it's just a tool that I don't really like them using. But I mean, there's enough intrigue in there, definitely, to go an extra issue in for me. I agree with you. The artwork looks great.
Looks really good.
I'm also really excited to read La Frise's new ongoing title with Keith Griffin writing it. He wrote Lobo, Portrait of Bastiche, so I'm always going to be on board for what he's doing, although he hasn't done a lot of good in a while, so who knows. So I reckon this was a good start. Not a great start, but I'd say it was a solid start.
I don't think it was bad by any means. It just definitely wasn't for me.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so the next book we
got a book by Steve Busick, who we've talked about. Kurt Busick. I don't know why I keep calling him Steve.
Steve.
We talked about him when we talked about Superman's Secret Identity. He wrote that, right?
Steve Busick.
Kurt Busick wrote that.
Kurt Busick. I don't know.
I think he did. I hope he did. Astro City is something that's just a huge thing. Like, people love this book. Like, people really love this book. We've never read it.
I've never even heard of it before.
I'd heard of it, and it was been hovering around my Amazon basket for a while, and I just never kind of pulled the trigger.
That Amazon basket.
So we're both coming to this completely fresh, new.
Yep.
Didn't know anything about this world or its characters. How did you find this?
I found this book very exciting. This book is some crazy high concept stuff. In this book, we follow a character whose name I've completely forgotten. But he's breaking the fourth wall. He's talking directly at you, and I really like that approach. And then we get into this crazy world of Astro City, and some of the characters in this, like, what's her name? American Chibi. The girl with the big manga head, and I love the way he goes, maybe it was some young girl's 14-year-old girl's wish come true, or even worse, maybe it's a 35-year-old dude's wish come true. So you've got that, you've got the Samaritan, you've got all these crazy characters, crazy high concepts, beautifully drawn. This inconsiderate. This was beautifully drawn, and yeah, I just found this book absolutely fascinating. By the end of it, I was excited to see where we were going. The whole almost Galactus-like character, I love the way all of his text that starts written outside of speech bubbles and that big booming voice, and he goes, "Oh, hang on a second. Oh, that's better." And then he's speaking in speech bubbles. I thought that was really clever. It's a very clever use of the medium. They're really understanding how to use a comic book, and yeah, I'm excited by the end of it, especially that last page. Just skip over the last page. I found it incredibly exciting, and I will definitely be reading forward.
Yeah, it is really interesting the way this book is framed, and it isn't a Deadpool breaking the fourth wall. It's sort of as if it's as if there are all these different dimensions, and he's in one, and he's aware that we're coming. It's very self-aware in that way, and we're in another, and it's like, I exist, you exist, and you're just part of this other crazy story. Yeah. It's really nice the way that's framed, and I agree the characters are interesting. I definitely felt like I was missing something. I definitely felt as if I'd have read the previous stories, I'd be on a more solid ground with this, because it was difficult, because I didn't know whether I had so many questions, and I didn't know whether people who had read all the other stuff had the same questions, or whether it was literally just because I don't know anything about this world, and I didn't. Yeah, so but it was really interesting and really creative, and there were definitely things, like you said, with the text and the American Chibi, like just really creative, playful things that made me want to go back and read the older stuff, definitely. And by now I definitely have a lot of faith in it. He also wrote Marvels,
which I have not read.
which is great, fantastic.
I will get around
So
to
he's a really great writer. So I definitely have a lot of faith in him. And yeah, so the review from two guys who have never read it before is great.
Yeah, I don't think you have
hesitate.
to have read it either. I think this is very much like Saga, where you just kind of get dropped in the middle of this universe, and you're like,
Possibly.
okay, I'll find my own way through. That's no problem.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I think it's built up very well. So yeah, I say go read. Okay, so the last book we're going to talk about today, just as Daredevil End of Days comes to an end, which I still haven't read, and it's killing me that I haven't read it yet.
Still haven't read number 8.
No, I haven't had a chance. Number 8, yeah, it's the last one. Just as that ends, we get a brand new out of continuity Daredevil book with Dark Knights number 1. I don't know what the deal is with this book. I don't know if it's going to be one storyline or multiple writers doing different stories in it. But
I think it's the latter, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. But this particular one is... He's found unconscious in the middle of one of the worst winter storms that New York has ever had, and he's trying to repiece together who he is and become Daredevil again and help out. That's kind of the concept of the first issue. Dan, you are enjoying the work of Chris Samney and Mark Waid on Daredevil. You weren't enjoying so much Bendis's work on End of Days.
I didn't mind it. I read the first issue and decided I'd pick it up and trade. I didn't hate it.
How did you feel towards this telling of Daredevil?
Thought it was great. Thought it was really good. It's a really good time to be a Daredevil fan. That man is just having some great stories made for him. I'm interested to hear what you think, because as soon as you were saying about Green Lantern, you don't like it when they bounce around with time and stuff. I was like, I wonder how he's gonna feel about Daredevil, because this is what this story does. He's here in a hospital. He's here before.
Yeah.
But whilst that is maybe a little okay, where am I through it? By the time the end hits, there wasn't an issue. You got the whole line of story. You understand where everything was. It looks fantastic, with the writer-artist thing, that's one of the things I always look for, like with J.H. Williams III on Batwoman, Francis Manapul writing and drawing Flash. Like those two books were so wonderful and creative and different, and they're allowed to be that because of the writer-artist, so I was hoping for that here, and definitely didn't disappoint. Some of these pages are really cool, really interesting, especially one where he wakes up in the hospital and it's the sensory overload type of thing. So yeah, great. Another Daredevil book I'll be picking up in trade. Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed this book. I think you're right. You can't go wrong to be a Daredevil fan at the moment. At the start of the book, I was very confused. Didn't know where we were going with this. Didn't know if I was going to enjoy where we were going. By about halfway through the book, I was like, okay, yeah, I know. I'm safe. I know what's happening. By the end of the book, I was like, okay, now I'm excited. That bit where they open the suitcase, I love that moment. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed this book. I don't think the artwork is as special as Daredevil's been or End of Days was. But having said that, it's by no means terrible. It's really good still.
Also, we didn't get much Daredevil.
No.
We got one or two panels. Like some of the Samney stuff comes alive when it's the red Daredevil and the black Knight and stuff like that. So
well, I always find with Samney, he draws... I mean, I love his art style, so even if he's just drawing a conversation, it really works for me. Same with End of Days. The majority of that takes place in the non-superhero world, and there's something really dark about the drawing, and part of me was really worried that this was just going to be one of those kind of, we don't have a dark Daredevil on the shelves at the moment, I suppose we should write one. And it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a completely different story of hope and not a fun Daredevil, but also not down.
Feels very connected to Born Again. They even reference Born Again in there.
Yeah, so a lot of religious connotations in this book as well. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I think if you are a Daredevil fan, you've been enjoying all the books, this isn't one to shy away from. my fears were quelled with this book.
Absolutely. Don't forget to let us know what you think in the comments below, and you can also let us know on Twitter. We are at Comic Book Show 1.
Indeed we are. Also, you can join us on Wednesday. We are going to be doing our final part of the greatest Superman stories of all time. And then on Friday, we are going to be... What are we doing on Friday? We're going to be talking about some of the books that we've been reading in our spare time.
Okay. We'll see you then.
You fucking, that's what we're doing.
No, we didn't decide.
We did.
Did we?
Yeah.
All right. So we're doing that.